And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast, a part of the College Huddle Network, along with my partners Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, and Shelton Moss. I am Curtis Wilson, and this episode is brought to you by Dr. Jeremy Counts down at Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy at 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. Check him out when you head down this year for a game. We are also brought to you by Moments on the Maury. Looking for a weekend getaway, but still need to make it to Blacksburg for the game? Moments on the Maury is exactly what you need. Keep your wife happy, keep yourself happy on this. Owned by a proud Hokie, located just outside Lexington, Virginia, just a little over an hour drive from Blacksburg. Gives you fishing, kayaking, canoeing, just relaxing by or in the river right out the back door. Check out the links in our comment section and on Instagram at Moments on the Maury. Gentlemen, we have finally made it.
Week one, man. Week one. It's been a long time coming.
It has been a long time coming, and I mean, it looks like so much going on in the chat tonight. I believe.
Oh man, we already jumping in the chat, right?
Everybody jumping in the chat. Free Caleb, we're gonna talk about that. Oh man, people feeling good vibes.
Hey, I got a question right quick before we get started on some serious stuff.
Yeah.
Was the intro song longer today than normal? Because I feel like I was sitting here for like 10 minutes waiting to come in. Maybe it was anticipation.
Tally is ready for week one.
Tally, you're ready
hold on
for
now.
week one.
Don't use that word ready loosely like that. I don't know about ready. We're going to see after the night how ready I am.
So we got a question here because my child had baseball practice till 9 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
And can't leave the child at the baseball field. Not good parenting. So,
I mean, you can. It's just not advised. I mean, CPS might be showing up or something at some point, but
they may be. But all good. Shelton, how's life, man?
It's been good, man. We're going to be pretty busy this week. Students are back, at least at William and Mary tomorrow. I know, obviously, they're coming back all over the country. So this is the kind of time where, campuses become lively again, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, we're gonna get going here right in a few days.
Hopefully, you don't have a Saturday night at Sharky situation.
Ooh, let's not go there. It's too soon. Too soon, Brian. All right. Well, real quick, we do have a special guest to kick off the show, doing things a little different than we normally do. We're going to start with Know the Enemy because we got a special guest. But real quick, before we get into that, I'm sure some fun back and forth. We get into Tell the Truth Tuesday as we tell the truth about the depth chart because it looks like it's full of a lot of lies, in my opinion, in stealing that from you, Tally, and some other people that use it. This is like really heartfelt because you don't want to see anything bad happen to anybody. And if y'all were not aware, have not seen it, Gamecocks defensive line coach Travian Robertson was involved in a pretty bad car accident last week. I think he is in stable condition, still in ICU, got a long way to go. But, it's a game. Something like this happens. It does not. The game's still going to be played. They're going to hit each other. They're going to try to win it. But you see something like this, prayers up for him and his family, the entire Gamecocks community concerning that because it's a life-changing event. So, again, shout out on that. And, well, Brian, let's go ahead and bring on our guest this week is from the podcast Cox Talking Gamecocks. It is Tim Cox. Tim,
hey,
how you doing this evening?
What's going on, fellas? Thanks for having me.
Anytime, Tim. Thanks for joining us. So, we were chit-chatting beforehand, and we did not get to ask you. You asked us, but now we'll ask you. Give us a little bit. How did this start? How did your podcast start? Where you from? What you doing? And are you going to the game Sunday?
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, first off, that's a beautiful shout out you had to Coach Robertson. Obviously, a very tough situation for not just him, but the other family that was involved. So, yeah, anyone who's out there sees GoFundMe's definitely support that. But, yeah, so Cox Talking Gamecocks, I mean, obviously, my name kind of works with the mascot of our team. So went to South Carolina, graduated in 2015, and that was really my first exposure to like big time college athletics, and just absolutely fell in love with it. I was a sports management major, so just like really dove into every aspect of it there. And afterwards, after you graduate, it's kind of that one tangible thing that you and your buddies can still talk about, and you can go to the games and just kind of stay connected through. So any chance I had, I would talk Gamecock sports to whoever would listen. And I think the passion only grew the farther I got away from graduation. And then, we had our Will Muschamp era, or error, if you will, and then brought on Shane Beamer as a head coach. It was just on the heels of COVID, where, I was like, what, if we're going to try and shake things up here and chase a passion, there's a new chapter in Gamecock football, so let's go for it now. So I've been doing it we're going on year 5 now, which is crazy, but it's been a blast. I'm on Twitter as Cox Gamecocks and Instagram Cox Talking Gamecocks. I do shows twice a week, Mondays and Fridays, and try to keep them nice and brief and fun. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. But I've been looking forward to this. When y'all reached out, I was like, not only am I raring to go for week 1, but I'm raring to go to talk some smack about the Beamer Bowl, and I'm ready for this one.
Man, you brought up the Beamer Bowl. That's got me having some feels. All right, first thing we got to talk about, what colors, what logo is Frank going to have on at this game?
Y'all are not going to want to hear this. He's going to be wearing Gamecocks. I'm calling it now. I mean, he's been down in Columbia multiple times wearing the garnet and black. I'm sure you're vomiting in your mouth right now, but I foresee him in garnet and black. Maybe he'll put on a Virginia Tech cap, but who knows?
Is he gonna be like one of those like parents of players that are on both teams? They got like the split
jersey. I could see it. I could see the split, or maybe just like a nice neutral color, like blue or something. That's just completely unaffiliated with anything.
Tyler, how you feel about that?
Yeah, Frank gonna have to have a team on. I don't know which one it's gonna be, but Frank gonna have to have a team on. We're gonna find out a lot Sunday.
It's gonna be great
about what Frank gonna do, but I kind of feel like he gonna have Gamecock stuff on. That's just how I feel.
That's blood, man.
I mean, representing his son,
If it was in like that's what it's gonna be. If it was in Blacksburg, I think he might have put on something Virginia Tech for the people. But being neutral site, he's going to be in the box with other Gamecock fans and family. So that's my prediction right there.
Frank, if you listening to this, you better show it with some damn Hokies stuff on. You got a statue sitting in front of that stadium. You better get down there and represent. I took a picture with that statue.
We did take a picture with that statue.
It looked like Hank Hill Daddy, but it's still a statue.
It's close enough. It's close enough.
Yeah.
It's in the ballpark. You know who it is.
Yeah, we know who it is. It's better than some statues and things I've seen in the past. Some of them are just god awful. But let's get into it, because obviously this is your team. This is the team you focus on. So we've got quite a few questions we want to ask, and I'm going to lead it off. And we're going to start on offense, and I want to talk about Mike Shula, because you look at it, you got Mike Shula coming in, former Alabama head coach, former NFL coordinator, worked there with Cam for a few years up in Carolina. And last year he was brought in as a special assistant to the offense. Now, my question is, was this effectively Lenore's is built similar to Cam, similar game? Was this strictly for that? And was the always move to OC going to happen regardless? Whatever. Was it Dow? All right.
Yeah, Dow Loggins.
Dow Loggins, who went up to App State. Was that the plan from the beginning, you think?
I don't know if it was necessarily the beginning. I mean, I think Shane would have loved to have kept Dowell on. Things started to really click with them, and especially that last 6-game stretch of the season last year. I think it was a natural transition for a few reasons. Like, yes, Shula has experience with athletic quarterbacks like Cam, but he also has experience with a guy like Josh Allen briefly. He will name drop Daniel Jones. I'm not putting him anywhere near my quarterback. But it's,
That's a sore subject. That's a sore subject. So yeah, it's
I think when he was the on-field assistant for Dowell Loggins. So the guy who was talking and sitting down with Lenoris on the field when the bullets are flying was Shula. And so I think you're able to keep some synergy between maybe some of the terminology, knowing some of Lenoris's tendencies. And I'm pretty sure Lenoris gave it a glowing review and a green light when the decision was, more or less finalized, like, hey, we're going to do this. But I just felt like it was a natural transition where you didn't have to overhaul the entire system. And, I think we're all cautiously optimistic to see how it goes.
Well, I'm hoping that it goes bad because I'm from Alabama. And
Sure.
And I'm used to Mike Shula being Alabama's coach, and that is not something you want to talk about in the state of Alabama.
No,
Did not go well. So if I can see something like that happen, you seem cool, Tim, but I want him to do bad. But anyway, we're gonna go to the next thing, talking about your quarterback, which everybody kind of knows him. If you haven't heard about him, probably haven't been paying attention to college football. Lenoris Sellers, getting a ton of hype this offseason, which is warranted. Could you tell us a little bit about him and what you know of him and what kind of what we expect from him in this game?
Yeah, I mean, Lenoris we're calling him Le Savior, if you will. So he was a guy that when he came in, was recruited a little bit under the radar, was actually at one point committed to your in-state rivals, Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
And we were all excited about him. We knew he had all the ability in the world. And what you saw last year was really his maturation and realizing some of that potential, where those first 4 or 5 games, he was actually banged up a lot. He was battling through some injuries. But once he was able to stay on the field and develop and get those game reps, you saw it all come together. He's big, he's fast, he's physical. Everyone loves to talk about his ability to escape the pocket and run, which is incredible. And there's a play from our game against Texas A&M where he just truck sticked a dude to get the first down. So he can do all that. But I think what's underrated about him is his passing ability. Like last year, he had some fantastic throws, but you could tell he wasn't quite as polished as maybe you'd want your SEC quarterback to be. So that's where I think Mike Shula is going to really help him. And what they've really preached this year is working on the footwork, knowing when to tuck and run instead of having to rely on it. So I think you have a real possibility that Lenoris Sellers can be a top 2 or 3 quarterback in all of college football this year. And, we're all kind of holding our breath. We haven't really had something like that in Columbia. Like, we had Spencer Rattler recently. He had his good moments, and his last year at Carolina was really good, although the wins didn't really stack up. You got to go back to Connor Shaw as a guy who really was that warrior for the Gamecocks, but more of a college quarterback scramble, like didn't really have that necessarily pro ability, but a guy that just won a ton of games, bled garnet and black. But Lenoris is kind of that first time that we're looking at this, like, holy crap, we might have a top overall quarterback pick in our locker room right now, and a guy who's going to give us a chance in every game. So I know I just went on for a little bit, but if you can't tell, we're pretty excited about Lenoris Sellers around these parts.
Well, you should be. I mean, last year, 65% completions, 18-7 ratio. Rusher over 500 yards, and he's a big guy. It's not like you're going out there. I mean, what's he, 6'3", 240?
He's a big
something
guy,
like that.
Yeah.
What about? I'll ask this because he played every game last year, or all but one game last year.
Yeah, he sat out one game due to injury, but he got knocked out of the LSU game, which was a heartbreaker for South Carolina. And you could just tell he wasn't 100% in some of these other ones earlier in the year. I believe it was the Ole Miss game where he came back, and that was his first game where he was fully healthy, back from recovering from the injuries. And so those last 6 games that Carolina won all in a row was really when he was fully healthy and acclimated.
What was the injury last year? I mean, it's like us. You can tell us, well, Kyron Drone was hurt last year. It was his foot, then it was his shoulder, and his knee, is everything. What was that particular injury early in the season last year?
It was a high ankle sprain.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That'll get you.
It lingered, and especially for a young quarterback who was relying on his legs a little bit earlier in the season, it was tough, but managed through it and came out on the other side better for it.
Well, let's talk about the biggest news for the Gamecocks this week. Rasul Faison, let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah.
Got approved by the NCAA for another year of eligibility. It seems
he's like 26. Get a job.
Yes, it seems that a lot of this is contingent upon what judge you get. But all these guys playing for 4 or 5 teams in their career. But that's just the way things are today. So I was looking up his PFF stats. Obviously, he was very well graded in the running game specifically. Seemed like he struggled a little bit with run blocking last year, but for the most part, pretty good runner. Has some good after contact numbers. Yeah. Tell us about his game. What him being eligible will provide for the offense that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise if he was off the field.
Yeah. I mean, that was a hell of a countdown we had with the NCAA. And brief history. I don't think many people have glowing reviews of the NCAA, but it just feels like for South Carolina, you always get the short end of the stick with these rulings where I was convinced he was going to get cleared, but only after the game with y'all. So we're all very excited about that. I mean, the running back room as it sits without him, I had faith in. Even without him, it's 3 or 4 guys deep, guys with experience. Name you're going to hear a lot is Oscar Attaway. He's now going to be that really RB2 more likely. But Faison was a guy that the coaching staff were really high on, kind of penciled him as an RB1. I think he's a violent runner. He can make a guy miss, can run between the tackles just as well as going outside. But I think when you're really going to see his value is catching and in those short intermediate passes, those screens and things like that. So his run after the catch ability as a running back, I think is really exciting. And just now it's that much more deeper of a running back room. So he's been practicing under the assumption that he's going to be cleared. So I don't see necessarily this drop off in usage, but there might be a little bit where maybe a guy like Attaway or a Fuller goes a little bit more than maybe normal. But yeah, we're all really excited for Sewell and what he brings to the table.
Let me ask this, because I think the one thing that I had for Mike Shula's offense is Mike Shula's a pro guy. Usually most pro guys are 50-50. They're going to try to balance it out. Mm-hmm. You look at the data from last year, y'all were a 63-64% run team versus a 30% pass team. Do you have a pause for a second that could they, and we know how this goes because this was us last year, could they try to push too much pass early because we're trying to get Lenoris to go to the next level, to get ready, and effectively go away from the bread and butter, go away for what works early in the season because we're trying to make him an NFL player? Well, does that fear, because, effectively we saw that happen with Kyron Drones last year. They tried to make him a pocket passer, what he wasn't, and you saw some of the results we had until finally they decided to switch it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you guys are great. First off, you guys are coming out with stats that I haven't even looked at. We got ratings and things like that. So kudos to y'all. But it's a good question. Now, I think some of that 65 split that you had was you do have a young quarterback and you have to lean on. You had a guy in Rocket Sanders last year who was one of the better backs in the SEC. So you're going to work what's cooking for you. And the wide receiver core last year was pretty thin and rather inexperienced. This year, the wide receiver core returns basically all the main guys from last year in the 2 deep. So you have that. You have experienced tight ends as well, brought in a good tight end transfer from Kentucky, and you have a bunch of exciting freshman wide receivers as well. But the offensive line has a lot of continuity and is set to be improved. So all that to say, I think you probably see a more even split of run pass. Something that South Carolina always has wanted to do under Shane Beamer is control the line of scrimmage. So they're going to be stubborn with the run regardless. And with Lenoris, yes, they're trying to get him to be a more complete passer, but you're not going to get away from his strength and his X factor, which is his legs, right? So I guess to answer your question, I'm not too worried about them forcing the issue with having Lenoris air it out a lot because of the depth in the running back room. If they have to turn to that, they will.
Got it. And you mentioned about the receivers and stuff because your leading guy last year was your tight end Josh Simmons. I mean, 40 receptions, just over 500 yards. And looking through it, I'm gonna throw some names out here. You tell me who you're most excited about.
Sure.
So you've got leading receiver last year was Mazeo Bennett Jr. And then some of the other guys, you've got Ventrevious Jacob. Lord have mercy. Somebody we're very familiar with, Nick Harbor, because he's up from the DC area, so the DMV. But out of all those, Jared Brown is the only guy that you guys are potentially in your 2-3 deep, because we got to consider the slot now part of it. So we used to talk about 2 deep, 4 deep wide receiver. Wide receivers do 6 or 7 deep now. You got Jared Brown, who transferred from Coastal, has the most career yards out of all those guys. He's the only guy that has 1,000 yards career that you're bringing back. So they played some last year, but it's not like they exploded. Who are you excited about?
I mean, it has to be Nick Harbor. Like, it has to be. He was getting better and better as the game went on. Now, the thing with Harbor is, or as the season went on, excuse me, but the thing with Harbor was he was a 2-sport athlete. He was splitting his time between track and football. And when he was in high school, he wasn't really a wide receiver full time, right? Like, I could be mistaken here, but I think he played some defense, maybe even tight end as well. So he's still pretty raw as a wide receiver. This offseason, he made the decision to not pursue track anymore. So he has a full spring under his belt. The reports out of camp are that he looks great. You have to be the most excited about him just because of his physical abilities. Now, I really like Mazeo Bennett. He was a big recruiting win that the Carolina Gamecocks got, was pretty consistent for them as a true freshman. And if he can take up his game to the next level, I think that's someone who could be a difference maker for you as well. But those 4 guys that you listed off, like, yes, that's the core that we're hoping to collectively take a next step, because behind them, it is a bunch of freshmen, albeit, talented, but still freshmen. So I like Harbor and Bennett to take big steps forward this year.
And in order for them to have big years, you are going to rely on that offensive line. And looking at the offensive line, it looks like one starter returning from last year, Josiah Thompson. You had Tree Babalady returning that played some in 2023, but then redshirted last year in 2024. You got a couple other guys mix in from the transfer portal. What is the biggest concern for this offensive line, given that there's not a ton of returning talent from last year's team?
So I'm going to fact check you a little bit on that. Kason Henry was the starting right tackle. He is also returning as well. Okay. And you also have a guy, Trovon Bowe, who played a lot his freshman year, maybe quite, was in and out of the rotation, but he played a lot as well. Then you're bringing in Boaz Stanley from, I think he transferred in from Troy. Yes, thank you. Yes. So this is the most size and athleticism that Shane Beamer has had on that offensive line in his tenure. And the offensive line has been an issue for South Carolina. I mean, you could probably go to the majority of college football fan bases and they'll say this has been an issue, but it kind of feels like put up or shut up time for this line. So looking at guys like Josiah Thompson, Tree, Kason Henry, Staley, then you got Nick Sharp. There's a couple of guys here who could be plugged and played in. They cross-train, and it's a pause because it's been not exactly a strength for South Carolina. But this year, the hope is that they're a little bit more experienced collectively, and they can go and at least get out of the gate a little bit faster than they did. Hope that answers the question.
Good. Where's the battle? Because we've named 6 or 7, but where's the battle? Where's where you mentioned Tree, because I think Tree played right tackle along with Kason some last year. Is that the battle right now? Is that the one that if as Hokie fans start seeing it, that you might see both of those guys play off and on?
From everything I've seen, yes, it's those 2 guys. And I think Kaysen might have the inside track for it. Tree he's an interesting case. He's really good. Like, he played his freshman year, and I thought he would have been a shoo-in to play last year, his sophomore year. But he can play tackle, he can play guard. So that's a guy that you can look out for as just he can go anywhere, and he's a massive human being.
Yeah.
On one of the interior guard positions, you have a freshman who's trying to battle his way there. Shed Sarrett, and he's battling, I believe it's with Nick Sharp, who's a transfer guard as well. So there's a couple, but I think for the most part, you're looking at Kaysen, Trovon, Josiah, Staley, and Sharp. But it's going to be interesting to see what's that depth chart is officially released, which I'm hoping we get in a day or two.
Y'all aren't getting one, by the way.
Yeah.
They said it today. Yep. I can't remember who it was.
Breaking news.
No, it was. I'm assuming y'all did media day today down there, and someone said with the media notes, no depth chart was.
So
he is that scared of Virginia Tech coming off a 6 and 7.
No, so that's the
Jesus Christ.
That's the media notes. Shane Beamer had pushed everything back a day this week because the game's on Sunday. So normally he does the press conference on a Tuesday, which would have been today. And I think he's doing it tomorrow. So I'm thinking tomorrow or Thursday we'll have a depth chart. But I predict there's going to be a lot of ors on it. He doesn't keep it like too strict.
Yeah. Ours came out with a bunch of ors as well. So we're going to shake that out a little bit later in this episode.
We're going to talk about our depth chart.
I'm sure
a little later. A lot of ors.
I've heard it's thin. That's all I've heard. Thin.
Not necessarily thin, just a lot of ore. All right,
a lot of uncertainty at positions we thought were maybe more certain than they are.
We'll see.
It's all gamesmanship, like especially week one. It's all just gamesmanship.
Well, hold on, y'all got to go look this up because if you're a college football fan, go look at what New Mexico Lobos. Have y'all seen that yet?
I just saw that. Yeah.
Did you see that, Shelton? Go look it up if you get a chance to them tonight.
Yeah,
it's hilarious what they did.
Is it their?
It's
the depth chart.
I don't want to spoil it for you. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh your ass off. Let's get over. We talked about the offense, hit all the pertinent points. Shelton Moss, kick us off on defense, man.
Yeah. So first up on defense, let's talk Dylan Stewart. Obviously had a great year last year. 51 QB pressures total, which is fourth best in the SEC, and we'll talk about him later on the podcast as well. So my question to you is, on a scale of 1 to Ndamukong Suh, how concerned should Hokies fans be about this kid? He looks to me like he's got elite physical tools, maybe a little bit undersized, but obviously you can't deny the results there. How dangerous is he, and how do you think he will, maintain his effectiveness without a guy like Kyle Kennard on his opposite side?
I mean, you guys worry about the Sandman every game. This Dylan Stewart might as well be the Sandman for you guys. I would put him on the scale of 1 to Jadeveon Clowney. That's where I got him this year. He is everything you want to be in your All-American, All-SEC potential D end. You say maybe a little undersized, maybe he looked a little skinny, but he's now another year or really 2 off seasons now, but now another year bigger, faster, and stronger. He's going to get a lot of attention, like naturally. And yes, we can talk about the loss of Kyle Kennard, who Nagurski Award winner, like that helps anyone who's opposite of him. But Dylan Stewart has that game-breaking ability. Speaking of Clowney, he was mentored by him a little bit in this offseason, just what to expect going from year 1 to year 2. He has his sights on all of those accolades that Clowney had. And while I do expect him to get some extra attention from offensive lines, I think he is good enough to take over and have his moments. But at that same time, does it open up things on the other side of him where a guy like Brian Thomas or JT Gear who can go in there opposite of him and create some plays? So I'm so excited for Dylan Stewart. Like, as much excitement as we have for Lenore Sellers and the offense, like I'm just as excited to watch Dylan Stewart this year. And it's a lot to put on one guy, but he has all the ability in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said about the Kennard thing, because that's always my big question. When you see guys when they're younger and they have good seasons, and you look at the opposite side and it's Kennard.
Yeah.
Got drafted high. He was an elite edge guy last year. How does that take away now when he goes in and now it's like, listen, you're not getting one-on-one against the lesser of the tackles. You're going to get chipped. You're going to get a – Brian Siegler here was a guard in college. That guard is going to throw his fucking elbow right into your ribs to get you set, to get him back into set to stop you. Are you ready for that? Now, I'm going to go here and Sheldon wanted to jump in with Dylan Stewart, which we completely understand. He's the face right now for y'all's defense. But let's talk about the DC. Let's talk about Clayton White. Y'all run a 4-2-5. Y'all run that. And he's been in South Carolina for, I think, since Shane got there, right?
Yep.
Since Shane got there. What's just the feel on him as a coordinator? Again, we don't watch a lot of games, South Carolina games, but is he heavy blitz? Is it zone? Is it a mix? What do you see from him Sunday, potentially setting up against the Hokies?
Yeah, it's a great question. It is funny to see. It almost feels rare nowadays. I mean, you guys can probably understand, like just in general college football, like to have a coordinator stay for 5 years now, it feels rare. It feels like guys either get fired or they take the first head coaching job that gets offered to them. And Clayton White has had a couple of, bites, it seems like, at potential head coaching gigs at smaller schools, but has decided to stay at South Carolina. Had one rough year, but came out through the other side of it. But yeah, you said 4-2-5. He's going to play a lot of man. He lets his guys man up, go on islands, and he's going to let that front four, front six with the 4-2-5 go to work. So in an ideal state, he's rushing 4, maybe 5. Not a ton of exotic blitzes and things like that from him, but that's why the defense last year felt so successful, because you had such a strong defensive line that they could go to work and disrupt the passing, just on themselves. This year, the experience is mainly in the back end of the defense, where you have a really strong, core group of defensive backs. So I'm expecting him to do more of the same man coverage, let those guys do their jobs on islands. And it's funny, I think it could be a deal where, without a guy like a Kyle Kennard or, a TJ Sanders in the defensive tackle position, at least in this first game, it could be a lot of like coverage sacks that you're trying to get, where the D-backs are, playing well, doing their job, and you're gaining that extra second or two for a guy like Dylan Stewart to get off that double team and then get home. But all told, yeah, that's Clayton White there. Pretty good at making halftime adjustments. All told, I am a fan.
What's that like, halftime adjustments?
Dude, it's weird. Sometimes we'll say he waits a little too long, though. Like that sometimes can be the knock on him. But it is going to be interesting to see. There's no denying that there's talent that needs to be replaced in that front group of guys, linebackers especially, defensive tackles especially. And it's going to be interesting to see how this coaching staff works with that. I like the talent there. It's just a matter of, can they produce on the field,
Yeah. And before we pivot back to that more experienced back end, let's pivot back over to the defensive line a little bit and kind of look on the interior. We kind of circled Nick Barrett as a name to watch on the inside of that defensive line, but are there some other guys that we should be looking out for, and what do they bring to the table from a skill set perspective?
Yeah, great name drop. Nick Barrett, a guy that we're all really excited for. He is experienced. He's set to fill the shoes of that leader in the defensive tackle group. 2 more names for y'all to watch here. Monkel Goodwine has been with the program for a couple of years now, transferred in from, I believe, Alabama 2 years ago, but a guy who has played some, little bit by little bit, and really that story of development. And now it's his time to start, and he's going to start opposite of Nick Barrett, I expect. And that's the name I would keep out for. Another one is Gabe Brownlow Dindy, a former 5-star recruit who transferred in this past year from Texas A&M. Never quite lived up to that 5-star potential, but that's a guy who's experienced. I like to spin it for these transfers. It's like, well, at least they got SEC caliber coaching, right? Like, this isn't new to them. So, like, he's a guy that if he can put it together, he has the size and the physicality that you look for. There's a couple other guys, who you're hoping can develop and, show up on the field, a guy like Pikes who transferred in, but I'd say Goodwine, Barrett, Brownlow Dindy, those are your big 3 there in the defensive tackle spot.
Yeah, moving up from the defensive line, going to the next level. I know you talked a little bit about kind of linebackers and hoping those guys take a next step. Talking about the next guy who is taking over for a beast that you guys had in Knight. Fred Johnson, which most Virginia people know.
Thieves. Thieves.
The state of Virginia has been very good to the Gamecocks lately. It's been lovely.
We've been good to y'all. We've been good to Penn State. We've been good to Rutgers. Even we've been good to everybody, man.
Right. Sorry, Tally. You hit a nerve when you talk about Fred.
All good. Yeah, just talking about Fred and kind of I know sophomore this year. Great player from high school that again a lot of Virginia fans know, Virginia Tech fans know. So kind of speak on him and what you know of him, and will he be starting for you guys?
Yeah, I do expect him to start. I'm excited for him. He played meaningful snaps last year as a freshman and was a guy who you would just hear about every now and again in these press conferences as a guy that's impressing the coaches as a young player. He did a lot on special teams as well. But I expect him to take that next level and be that leader on the defense. It's funny when you mentioned Demetrius Knight. There was also Debo Williams, though he was, in their shadow a little bit. So the plays he made, these other guys were right around with him, and you got your eye kind of on them a little bit. But alongside him, there's a few other guys that, again, you're hoping can take that next step. A guy like Sean Murphy, who just transferred in, and then Jaron Willis, who has been.
Yeah, we know that name too.
Is he another Virginia guy? I know he transferred from Bama, Florida State, but he was another Virginia guy.
Virginia guy that committed to Virginia Tech for about 4 months. So
wow, all right. Well, hey, you guys have a good eye for talent, at least.
Hey, so you know what?
There's that.
It seems like if they don't come back around to us, they're heading down there to Columbia. So
yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, side note, part of the argument is for the Mid-Atlantic, the DMV guys, South Carolina is the closest SEC school. But it's going to be interesting to see with college with a conference expansion how long that holds true, whether it is a Virginia Tech or an NC State potential SEC expansion. It's very interesting. I actually, for what it's worth, I actually think Virginia Tech would be a pretty cool addition to the SEC, but that's a different conversation.
We hope so too. It should have. It actually technically should have.
We've had that conversation a bunch of different ways, and
Nick,
obviously at this point, anything that's not SEC or Big Ten is really kind of going to get left out in the cold in the long run. So we're hoping for one of those two.
I mean, I will say with the new SEC mandate, if you will, that these schools have to play a Power 4 opponent once a year outside of the SEC moving forward. It's going to be interesting to see how that works. So get ready to learn SEC, buddies.
Oh, we know SEC for a long time. Well, a couple things. First of all, we've already got Alabama and Ole Miss on schedule, and South Carolina for future dates too. So that's already been planned. But college football and future dates don't matter worth a shit. Let me ask real quick on the linebacker room, because you mentioned, Knight, like Tally mentioned, he was a stud. He was an absolute beast last year. Yeah. You mentioned Debo Williams, but y'all also lost Bam Martin Scott.
Bam Martin Scott, who just made the Panthers roster. Shout out Bam Scott.
So y'all are replacing a trio of starting linebackers, correct?
Yeah.
Just making sure there. I when I was researching, I was like, I know Knight. I mocked Knight to the 49ers like 14 times during the pre-drafts, all that fun stuff. But Brian, he's mentioned the back end. Where are we going next?
Yeah, I mean, back in, you talked about that being a little bit more experienced, but you did have, one big departure there with, Nick Emmenwar. Looks like maybe Peyton
Emmenwar,
yeah. It looks like Peyton Williams is going to be, sliding into that spot. Mm-hmm. What can you tell me about Peyton Williams? What does he bring to the table at that position?
Yeah, it's funny. Peyton Williams is a guy that's really waited his turn and kind of that old school guy who's developed and waited his turn and has done well with any opportunity that he's gotten. When Nick opted out, if for lack of a better term, of the second half of our bowl game, he slid in and performed really well. Whenever Nick was, had to be rotated out for whatever reason the last year or two, he was the guy that went in there and performed very well. It's a huge hole to fill. I mean, there's no way to dodge that, right? Like Nick did everything, borderline first rounder, but Peyton Williams is a guy that understands this defense, and he's going to understand his role. And when he's been asked to step onto the field, he's tended to perform well. But really what it is you're asking Nick Emanwari's, counterpart, DQ Smith, a guy that's played alongside of him since they were both true freshmen, to now really be that leader in the safety position where, there were a couple times in the past he's been caught out of position and Nick really never really was. So you're kind of asking him now to, okay, like you're a senior now, it's time to take that next step. But answer the question, I have full faith in Peyton Williams for sure. And also, there's a guy, David Busey, in the mix for that position battle as well. Don't be surprised if you hear his name called Sunday as well.
Very nice. You're a plethora of information. I love it. I love it. So
no, you guys
I'm
are
going to talk about.
This is hilarious. Like I thought we were going to be talking like game lines and Lenoris, and now we're talking David Busey. Like you guys are awesome. You guys
First of all, we need to let you know something about. I'm going to let you know something about my three partners. Shelton is an SID. Shelton knows his stats. He knows his data. He's going to fire away. Tally played tight end at Jacksonville State back in the day. Football gamer. Brian played offensive line at Hammond Sydney, a D3 school. And I just love football. So, although I have to say this, in the last few years of having Shelton here, he has turned me on some wonderful stat sites and guided me into that deeper and deeper. So we bring the heat because we want to know the players. We want to know what to expect. Game line right now, 7.5, 8 points. That's probably, it might go down a hair. It might
I don't
go
think it's
up
going to move. Yeah.
But I want to hit, before we wrap up with you, I want to hit one last player because this is the guy that I'm going to say it later when we do a few things about the Hokies. This is the guy that scares the bejesus out of me for your team.
Okay.
And it is Jalen Kilgore. Because when I look at Jalen Kilgore and, he was a stud coming out of high school. He was a top 247 player. That's no doubt. Last year, he picked the ball off 5 times, but only 40 tackles. But then I did more research, and it was the year before he had 80 tackles. So the guy can clearly tackle. But so give me some background on him because usually you don't see that big of a gap. Usually if a guy has 80 tackles, they're in the 60 to 70 range. Was there a change in what he did last year, or was it just a change in what happened? Because he went from being a tackling machine, which is great, to being a damn ball hawk, which usually you put them together, you're going to go in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft.
Yeah, I mean, he's a beast. He's been a beast pretty much since he stepped on campus. He's a guy that's been asked to do a lot of different things, so that might account for some of that, just where they had him playing. We're going to go deep in the bag here. So last year, so 2 years ago when he had more of the tackles, Clayton White had to make a little bit of a change in the defensive scheme to go to a 3-3-5 because the defense was just really thin, banged up, couldn't generate enough pressure. So you had more guys sitting back. So you're going to have more tackles that maybe it was like the running back getting to the second level and things of that nature. And the Gamecocks were giving up a lot more quick passes 2 years ago. Last year, you're able to get more pressures on the quarterbacks. And I think you had that front 7, if you will, doing a lot more damage and than you would have normally had, or doing a lot more damage, period, right? So then you look at a guy like Kilgore was able to just be in coverage and do his thing and stay on his man. So sometimes maybe not as close to the action as he would have been 2 years ago, but he's a guy that can do it all for sure.
Let me ask this too, like showing his ball hawk skills, were there times last year where people just kind of went away from him? He didn't get targeted at all in the defense, or was it more that kind of shift in philosophy?
I mean, I don't think teams went away from him. There's a guy who got drafted, O'Donnell Fortune from South Carolina, who that was a guy that guys tried to stay away from. Wherever Nick was shaded, guys stayed away from. But I think with Kilgore, he just has those natural instincts and he knows where to be, right place, right time. And just in general, that back half of the defense is really well coached by Torian Gray, and they understand their jobs, and there tends to be more than one guy around the ball. So if it gets batted in the air, someone's going to be there, and I think he benefited from that.
Got it. Well, before we let you off for the night, we got to get to we want to hear your prediction of what you think this final score is going to be in this game.
Oh, final score! Wow. Well, look, week ones are crazy, aren't they? Like they are. You just don't know what to expect. I think like a lot of South Carolina fans were like very aware that like this is a Power 4 matchup, and I think when I personally look at Tech, like you guys got screwed against Miami, and there was one or two other games that like you very well could have been on the other side of. So maybe you underperformed a little bit, but it's a team that could have had 7 or 8 wins. So, and you know, on top of that, the 2 new coordinators, like that scares me because you just don't know what the heck you're going to get. Like what kind of film is there to study really, especially your defense coordinator? Like what's this guy's deal? Like he was just a linebackers coach.
Know.
Like he really just like hired a linebackers. Like he never was a DC, right? Like I didn't.
No, he was.
He was DC at Wofford.
Oh, mighty Wofford, of course.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, no disrespect to Wofford.
So, but if you look at actually what probably would have happened, the COVID year, he had taken Wofford. They won the Southern Championship. Basically, were top 15 in defense in FCS 3 straight years. And the crazier part, when we were looking at that tape, y'all, it was with a 3-man front. It was with a 4-man front. It was one of them was like a 3-3 stack. So it wasn't the same defense those 3 years. When everything broke with COVID, I think where he was probably in his career, I think he was probably about to make the step up. But COVID completely screwed up FCS season. He got a call from the Minnesota Vikings. Do you want to be an assistant linebackers coach in the league? He's from Wisconsin area. He, if you want to know a little bit more background about him, he GA'd for Dave Aranda. Baylor's head coach, LSU's defensive coordinator he was an absolute stud there. And then when you go to Minnesota, he was with Mike Zimmer for a couple years. There is a story that they were going to basically pay him linebacker coach money to be an assistant linebacker coach. He didn't want to do that. He went to Arizona to be the linebackers coach. So that is his background. So
good to know. Good to know. So yeah, I mean that like kind of scares me. Like there's just not a lot of tape for South Carolina to go after. So I think this game is going to be kind of a slog in that first half. Definitely that first quarter. I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to take a while for these teams to feel each other out. I do think South Carolina finds its groove. I do think depth wins out. I think some of the continuity on offense for South Carolina wins out. But I do have it right around in that spread, 38-30 Carolina. But I think it's going to be a good one. And I mean, I hope it's greater for South Carolina, but that's what I had it as a while ago. So yeah, it should be a good one.
Awesome, Tim. Well, we really appreciate you joining us tonight. It's been a blast. I'll let you guys, if you guys want to say anything before we let Tim kick out of here.
Cox on Cox, baby. Y'all know the name.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Tim, man. It's been
thanks for bringing the heat, bringing the info, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, Tim.
Y'all be good.
Yes, sir.
Take care. All righty. So that was Tim Cox from Cox Talking Gamecocks podcast. Kim brought the heat, man.
Yeah,
I know a little bit more about them. Now I know what to be. Go ahead, Tally. You about to say something?
I was just gonna say I pray that I can be as excited as Tim is about my team in the coming years. That man is excited. That's how I want to feel going into the college football season. I don't feel that way right now, guys.
We had a taste of that last year. Then it got
remember?
right out of our hands.
I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about last year.
Well, we also are a lot. Well, Shelton's not as old, but Shelton's been a college fan for a long time. Like,
Sean, we got to play the game, man. We got to play the game.
We have to play the game. Yeah, that's how we should have felt. Put that up there. I think this, and what I like when he made that point of those close games. You want to fill into those close games. If you win a few of those close games, a few people don't probably get fired, right?
And
So
maybe a few people that should have got fired wouldn't have got fired.
okay, so either way, appreciate Tim bringing the heat. You got a lot more names and stuff. Again, the one big thing that, like, for them, that I think it's in the back of Tim's head somewhere. He's just not trying to hide it. That is a lot of talent lost on defense that played majority of the snaps. And it's not saying they're 6th and 7th rounders. TJ Sanders 4th rounders. Imanori 2nd rounder. Damn near 1st rounder. Knight 3rd rounder. Kennard 3rd rounder. And those guys, and we've seen it at Tech, right? We've seen a bunch of guys get drafted. Oh, the next guy's going to be okay. And they're not bad. They're just not as good. And we just know how that feels.
Let's talk about, I mean, you look at a 2017 to 2018 transition, and that's basically what happened on that defense. Now, their cupboard was a whole lot more full behind those guys than what we had. But from a talent standpoint, it was a very similar degree of loss.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. All right, so we got a lot more to unload. We're 50 minutes in. And, again, I wouldn't take that away for nothing because I think Tim gave us an education on South Carolina. It's going to help me know names, numbers, and all that fun stuff. But if y'all were not aware, over the last few weeks, we have been running little ads saying you can win a ticket to a concert the night before the game. Well, Brian earlier today got all the emails, all the names, put them into a randomizer, click the button, and we have a winner. And it is Jay Largan is the winner of the concert tickets to the AOAR concert this Saturday. Brian actually got to connect with Jay real quick at Coach Jay Largan on Twitter. He is going to the game, so the tickets are going to be used. We appreciate all of y'all for just putting the tweets out there, following it, clicking on the links. It was a great opportunity for us to get that from the Hokie way.
Yeah, and while we're at it, there's still tickets out there for sale. Be sure. I know we got it down there in the bottom. But go to thehokieway.org/concert, and if you use Boundary Corner, one word at checkout there, you'll get 10% off that ticket order. So if you're still looking for tickets, you're heading to Atlanta, you want to go to this concert, that's what you got to do.
Do it. All right, couple real quick hitters. Y'all probably saw this. Divine Diablo is going to be the honorary captain. Love seeing that. Tally, you had to love the Instagram drop with the jersey reveal the other day.
Oh man, I like Waffle House even more than orange, and that's hard to do. So,
are you a Waffle House connoisseur though? Are you?
Man, listen, the older I've got, I can't eat everything that I used to eat. Like I get sick, but I still will go to Waffle House and get me a chicken and cheese omelet with a waffle on the side. I'll get my hash browns. Throw a little onions in there.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like Waffle House is just. I don't think I've ever been. Let me tell you about Waffle House, and then I'm gonna be done. I know we got to go on. You gotta see some crackheads in Waffle House. Like you can't go to Waffle House and people be, have they can't. They need to live in a trailer. They need to not have all their teeth. I went to Waffle House one time, and the dude cooking my food had a Waffle House armband on. I knew the food was going to be good. I knew it was. He had a shooting sleeve on like Carmelo Anthony. And he only had 3 teeth. And I said, that's the one that I want cooking my food. Because I know it's going to be greasy. I know it's going to be clogging my heart up a little bit. But I know it's going to be the best food I've had. And I wasn't drunk. I was sober as can be.
I've heard you either have to have a black belt or be a meth head to work at Waffle House.
You gotta have a little bit of drug use to work in Waffle House. That's just what you gotta do. It's gotta be a fight close. It ain't gotta be inside, but it's gotta be a fight close. Outside, somebody in the back on the phone. We need to see a little bit of crackhead activity for that Waffle House to be busted.
There we
So
go.
if y'all ain't been to Waffle House, if y'all don't know about Waffle House,
Waffle House.
hey man, lose a little bit of money. I know some of these people got money, man. They probably, and I'm an IHOP guy too, but Waffle House, that's what it's at.
Waffle House is it. All righty. So we're gonna get into telling some truths here about the depth chart, but before we do anything about the depth chart, we got to tell the truth with all the news. It's been up here 3 or 4 times about Caleb Woodson. If you have not been under a rock, or if you have been under a rock today, excuse me, and you have not seen the news, or if you haven't, and you just oblivious to everything, Caleb Woodson Saturday night did get a DWI charge. So, everybody's like Ricky LeBlue's comments. If you didn't see Tally's comments was better. But just what do y'all, Shelton? I'm gonna throw it to you first because you work as an SID. You know there's rules. First of all, what is going to happen this weekend? Just your prediction. Tell the truth.
What's going to happen this weekend?
Yeah, with him.
With Caleb Woodson.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any doubt that he'll play. I mean, with these things, normally what you do is you sort of, you pass it off to the university. University handles it because they've got their own policies. The athletic department has their policies. So you kind of just wait and see, and then they do the thing in court, and whenever they adjudicate that, then they'll dish out some punishment. So I don't expect much will come of it from a not a disciplinary standpoint, more so like, this is not going to be a, lengthy suspension. Obviously it's not even a felony. It's a misdemeanor. So, but they'll probably, handle it internally. He's already been removed of his captaincy, and Price said that he has the opportunity to earn it back, which I would imagine would take a while. But I think they're probably just going to be pretty lenient about this. If they do a suspension, it'll probably be against Wofford, maybe for half. I don't know, but I would not expect any sort of harsh-handed disciplinary measures outside of internal stuff that they dole out that punishment within the program.
Cal?
I'm gonna let y'all go first. I'm gonna go last.
Oh, you gonna go last? I'll go
I'm
next.
gonna
I'll kick it to Brian. We'll go this way.
Right.
I'm with Shelton. I don't think anything happened this weekend. You've got to let it go to court. And also, Class 1 misdemeanors. With Virginia Tech, there's 4 levels. There can be a suspension, but usually it's a warning, some sort of other disciplinary action. Suspension is the 4th one on the list. It is the highest one on the list for a misdemeanor. And I know a DWI is nothing to play around with. That shit can get people killed. And to what some of the other people said, but we all have been young and done stupid shit at some points in our life. I don't think he's going to be suspended. If they do anything, maybe he don't play the first series. That might be it this weekend. Like, we took your captaincy away. You're not going to play the first series. You will not be out there. And then put Thomas's thing up here real quick, Brian. I see it in the right corner. And we don't know quite this yet. We don't know what it is. It does not make a difference, but that might go down to like pleading and stuff. But I think he's playing. And people can, try to get on a high horse or something, but I think I know what Tally's going to say in a while. I'm going to leave that silent. Brian?
No, you say whatever you want to say.
No.
I know what Tally's going to say.
I know what he's going to say.
I'm going to work around what I know Tally's going to say. What I'm going to say is this. So when you look at a misdemeanor and when you look at what we've seen historically happen with these at Virginia Tech, but also when we look at a grander scheme of how these things kind of play out elsewhere, I don't think there's a chance that he doesn't play in this game, whether he ends up sitting out a series or a quarter or whatever it may be. That would be the most I could foresee happening. I think he plays in this game. I actually think he plays all 4 quarters, and I think at some point this season you might see some additional disciplinary that results from, as Shelton said, the university process playing out for this. But I don't think we're going to actually see punitive action taking from a playing time standpoint?
You got to let the justice system do its job first before anything, because we'd be the stupid program that was like, he's going to sit the whole game, and then they drop the charges when he goes to court. And it'd be like, they dropped the charges. Why'd you wait, Tally? Light it up.
No, I mean, that's what it is. It depends, man. Like, there are some things that a college student can get in. It's some things anybody can get in that would warrant, hey, I need you to be away from us. You know what I'm saying? Some things that rhyme with grape, stuff like that, any kind of, harming somebody, things like that. Now, I'm not taking anything like that somebody can get in as far as legal action or legal, ramifications, things like that. But it's been asked 90 million times on here, and we got to address it because that's what we do. We're going to tell the truth on here all the time, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, no matter who likes it. Somebody posted on X today, Ricky LeBlue, whatever his name is. He goes on there, and no disrespect to him. I think he's a good guy. I've had some interactions with him, but he goes on there and he just goes in talking about if the coach has any spine, he should do this. First of all, we don't come to your fucking job and tell you what to do, because I'm sure you do some shit at your job that probably ain't right, because I know I do. So we don't go to nobody's job and tell them what they should and shouldn't do, or they ain't got a spine, balls too big, too little, whatever. We ain't doing all that. But this is what I can say. There are things that people try to use football coaches to be more than football coaches. There are some football coaches that are huge in people's lives, and I'm not taking that away. This nowadays, more than anything, is treated like a pro system. There's pro ramifications to what's going on with these young men. You got to let the justice system do their job. As an American, I've seen it plenty of times where police pull somebody over, beats the shit out of them, punches them through the window, shoots them, whatever the case is. And I'm like, dang, that looks like it was bad. And then the first thing I see on social media, somebody says, well, we don't know all of the details. Let's figure out what's going on first before we make a decision on this. And then on the other end, you got these people that just want to, throw some kind of bait out and say, oh, this happened because of this. We don't know the details. We don't know what the substance was. We don't know exactly what happened. Neither do I care. All I know is, number one, that ain't his daddy. Y'all talking about he should be the do this, and if he's trying to raise men, he ain't fucking raising nobody. He's a football coach that ain't winning no games. He has lost more games than he's won. He better put the best players on the field and try to figure out how to win. Taking the C away, great. Good job, Coach Pryor. I don't blame you for that. But this is what I'll say. You better put the best players on the field to try to beat South Carolina, because Shane Beamer going to be on your ass. And the rest of the fan base going to be on your ass. So if you sit him because of that, you might as well sit yourself, because you're going to put yourself in a position to lose. Back to what we're talking about with Caleb now. Back to that situation. Fans got to calm down. This happens all over. Not saying that it's right, but I've heard from some really, really good sources that there's some investigations being launched about how that stop went down. So they're targeting those kids. They're going to do that because you got kids in Blacksburg driving $90,000 cars, $60,000 cars. There's some police. I heard he wasn't even from there. I heard he was from 30 miles away, but whatever. Again, I'm a dude in Alabama. I don't know nothing. You got some people, and I'm not saying that it's racism. Sometimes it's placism. Like, if I'm a salesperson, which I am, and a new salesperson comes in and they are getting paid more than me, I'm going to be a little salty. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times these cops look at these kids that come in. They know they're getting NIL deals. They seeing what they driving, these Benzes, these Hellcats and things like that, and they got a problem with it. So they're going to target them. They're going to follow them, not making any excuses for anything a kid does. You got to be held responsible for what you do. That's why we have a legal system. Yep. Ricky, you ain't the legal system. Calm your nuts, buddy. Sunday is going to be a game on. Watch the game. If you want to protest watching the game because somebody's playing, protest. Go watch tennis. They play tennis sometime too. I live by a pickleball court. There'd be a lot of people out there playing pickleball. Go watch them play. I'm just saying, man. That's how I feel. I had to get my rant out. I feel better. Curtis, reel me back in.
I know. I had to let you go because what you said, the statement you made about where football coaches nowadays are, they're not. Some are father figures. You're right. Some are. Some really are. Some want to do things. But to your point, it is now a bigger game. It's about money. It's like you said. College football is no longer collegiate. College football and basketball are professional sports teams. You don't see the head coach running out in NBA or the NFL, right? To your point, he's got people out there he's got to lean on. And I think he's got to learn a lesson from this. And I think the captaincy is one thing. I think probably going to court's going to be another one. So,
well, I mean, when we think about it from a professional standpoint in the NFL, they don't preemptively.
Hell no.
Unless
you got to be convicted.
Unless the deed is very
atrocious,
like Tally was
I got a good
they don't
question
preemptively put somebody on the bench.
I got a great question for you, Sheldon. I know you might be a little young on this, but you do your research, so you probably know. I think Bobby had a spine. Bobby had a pretty good spine.
Ooh.
He didn't make Peter sit down. Did he make Peter sit down? Peter was stealing that shit out of the store, wasn't he? Or getting it for free. Somebody was giving it to him. Did he make him sit? Or did he play in the game and whoop our ass by himself? I'm just asking.
If it weren't for him, things would have been different.
If he had a spine, if we go by what was on X and he had a spine and we make him sit, history might be different. You know what I'm saying? We might be, this curse might be gone. I'm just saying. Hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to win. Have y'all ever watched the movie
that mid-game run that Mike had? I mean, that might have been enough to seal it without Peter coming back and doing his thing.
Yep. Have y'all ever watched the movie Blue Chips?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Chad. I know y'all have.
Oh, stop! Hold on.
Yep.
Shelton's never seen it. Shelton,
well, it's
I
fine.
know you go to bed early. What are you doing tomorrow? You need to take 2 hours of your time and watch Blue Chips.
Blue Chips, man.
33 years ago. Great movie.
Great movie.
Okay.
Nick Nolte.
Yeah, and I will say I agree with Ricky in theory. I would like to live in a world where athletes dealt with consequences just like regular people do, but that's not the world we live in, and so you're just going to play by all the rules that everyone else is playing by. So,
yeah, at some point, if everybody else is cheating, you might as well cheat too. That's
athletes deal with rules, but it's got to be, if we're dealing with rules, let's deal with them how everybody else deals with them. The justice system should handle it, right? Everything has to come out. Let's figure out what's going on first. Did we plant something in the car? Was he on the edible? Did he smoke a little weed? Did he drink a beer? Guess what? We don't know. So fuck it. Let's wait till we know before we find out.
There you go. All right. Real quick, I want y'all to give me one tell you truth on the depth chart, that whether you feel good about it, bad about it, weren't prepared for it, or wasn't prepared. We're not going to do what we can do better next because we figure out that next week with this shit with the depth chart.
I was not prepared for Montavious Cunningham at right tackle. I'm gonna jump out right out the gate and let you know I was not prepared for Montavious Cunningham at right tackle. I don't hate it, but I was very much not prepared for it. So I will say that one.
Agreed. Although that tape we saw from 2 years ago against LSU, it was like that kid can play right tackle.
That's why I said I don't hate it. And I'll piggyback on that. I hope I'm not taking anybody's. Not seeing Muskrat in any of those two deeps at offensive line also swings me in the other direction.
The musty rat.
All right, Sheldon, what about you? Feel good, feel bad, shocked?
I don't know. It's hard to tell with how many ors there are in the chat. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they intentionally tried to be as ambiguous as possible. I don't know. I mean, defensive end. I mean, I feel like Jonkin, we kind of knew he'd be a starter. It seemed like Arias Nash wasn't quite as, I guess, maybe productive as I would have liked. So he's a little bit further down. Bell and Burgos will be an interesting battle. I've been pretty high on Ben Bell from what I heard at camp. But it seems like Burgos is kind of challenging him as well. So I think that'll be interesting. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of really solid but no true elite standouts on the defensive line. So I feel like I'm just interested to see kind of how that battle plays out, because I think they've got some pretty good depth. They're much more than they had last year, but no true bona fide star like an APR. So I'm interested to see that.
Tally, anything shocked? Made you happy? Made you sad?
Man, you know how them depth charts be. I be finding it humorous. Like Josh said, man, they was rowing a boat with all them oars. They was in a canoe with so many oars in that running back room. There was oars everywhere. I'm like, what is him or him or him or him? They don't know, man. Cool. They just putting stuff out there. Y'all want a depth chart? I feel like the coaches got a sense of humor. They like, y'all know what? They want a depth chart.
Watch this.
Watch this. Let's just put it out there. So
we
don't know who. Only thing I know about the depth chart is that if he's healthy, which I think he is, Kyron Jones is a starting quarterback. Everything else is subjective. I don't know. I don't know nothing. So
yeah. I'll say this: the Rymack and Cunningham switch had me, because everything we heard, and remember we had DC on here 6 days ago. Cunningham, who'd seen that stuff in person, was like, every time we've seen it, Rymack's been it right. Cunningham's been it right.
We asked the question. Now we asked the question in a different context. We were asking whether they were, the tackles were swapped. We didn't realize that the guard and the tackle were getting swapped.
The guard and the tackle were swapped.
Right.
Thoughts on
Curtis,
Selden?
you got some people. I was gonna say, yeah, you got a lot of people asking and talking about Selden. What you think about that?
Well, the whole thing, we got to think about what we're going to. If Montgomery has even 65% of the way he used to run tempo, everybody that's on that starting wide receiver depth chart, they're going to be in there.
You got to,
because we're going to be running tempo. We're going to be running fast. You got him as the slot backup, and Takeith. We know Takeith is a gadget guy, a little smaller. Selden's the exact opposite of him.
Yeah,
Selden's huge. So I'm with you. Like some of it just don't matter. Some of it they just messing with the song. Now I'll say this: what did catch my eye, and I talked to Brian about it, was go to defensive end, and Bell and Burgos and Youngcomb, not shocking, right?
Right.
Elijah Fall, the transfer portal guy. Elijah Fall's not your typical defensive end. Elijah Fall's 6'3", 288. That is saying there's going to be some 3-man fronts, and he's probably going to be running the base end, or they're going to be something. What is it, Brian? Running like 2 eyes, and he'll play directly over a tackle as a 5-tech, and then let Junkum, because we've been hearing Ben Beller and Burgos. There's 2 guys standing up a lot. There's 2 guys always standing up. Sometimes Ian has his hand in the dirt. I think I see that. But as far as everything else goes, it's like people are saying, it's a good thing to have. It gives us something to talk about.
Yeah. And I mean, we still don't know, exactly what, at least against South Carolina, what base front we're going to come out in. I think we kind of assume it's going to be some variation of an even front, but to be determined.
Well,
I'll say this though. Go ahead.
I'm putting this up. Randy, the first was a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
You can have a reckless driving speeding ticket. That's not a second offense DWI. That's completely different. Completely different.
So no, what Josh said he was surprised to see Takai, but he knows he's a baller if he's healthy. I ain't gonna say I was surprised, but you're exactly right, Josh. Like, I went and seen the game last year at Vanderbilt, and I kept saying, and I was singing it from the mountaintops, like, why can we not get this kid the ball? He was so much quicker and faster than the rest of the wide receivers that were on the field. I would say probably Jay Lane was the only one that kind of had the same twitch as I did see Takai have. But again, things happen during the year. People get banged up. I think he thought about leaving the team for a little while, or maybe did leave the team for a little while. But whatever the case is, they've said he's had a great fall, and he's a talented player. I just hope that this year he puts it together. And it's very frustrating to a player that you know your ability and you know what you can do, and you're on a team that is not producing, not winning. I'll say that, and you can't get on the field. So a lot of times these kids or these young men get frustrated, and they either gonna pursue other opportunities or they want to know why I'm not on there. So I was asking the same thing last year, but I'm excited to see Heath get in the mix. I hope that we get to see what he can do because I really think that we haven't seen somebody in a phone booth like him. You know what I'm saying? We had a couple of wide receivers that were really good wide receivers last year, but I think that him getting off the line, and I kept seeing him put him in motion, and I'm like, man, he's fast. But we just never got to see that translate to even a play. I won't even say a big play, to a play. So Josh, great look when you talked about him being at slot, because I didn't even think about that. But I guess that's probably what I was surprised at, just that he was listed there, but I'm excited that he's listed there.
Lovett is effectively starter, as is Caleb Brown. You know what? And some of this shit might be there to motivate people. Like they may know, like, yeah, I'm the one. It's like you ain't nothing yet. We ain't played a game yet. All right, one thing before we turn on, we're gonna get into Hokie keys next, and then make our predictions. One thing I was so happy to see, because I do not think this is a lie. Tucker Holloway at punt return. That man dangerous.
Oh yeah, Tucker's good.
Dangerous.
Hated when he went down last year, so to see him back out there, man, he's to say that he is more special to me. Now, no disrespect to Jay Lane, because Jay Lane was a very, very good player. Think he's gonna have a long NFL career. Tucker being at punt return is special. He's just a different type of punt returner. You know what I'm saying? Kind of fearless back there, just works hard, has those long strides when he runs. And you go back and watch it. What was it, Georgia Tech? That he took one back? Is that the game? Somewhere around there. Anyway, not last year before last. But anyway, seeing Tucker back in that punt return, in that returner position, I think it helps us out a little bit.
Yeah. And when you look at punt returning, so like Jay Lane was a guy that's going to break that first tackle and then run away from people. I feel like Tucker, he's got that kind of vision and kind of sees how things are set up and just knows exactly where to go. And that's where his talent is. And like you said, Tally, once he gets that acceleration up, he's got those long strides, and it's hard to catch him at that point.
100%. All right. So let's flip off here. Appreciate y'all, all the comments in there, but we do need to talk about what we feel are going to be to the keys of the game from the Hokie side. And Sheldon, just because Sheldon goes quiet at times. So Sheldon, you get to kick us off. What is going to be the key for the Hokies to pull the win?
Yeah, so I said protect drones, specifically with regards to trying to limit, what Stewart can do. Again, we talked about, his pass rush numbers, 51 QB pressures last year. That was fourth in the SEC, and of the top 6 SEC pass rush pressure guys, 5 of them are now in the NFL. Obviously, Stewart being the one exception. So this is a bona fide, legit NFL talent. He's going to be going up against, as you said, Montavious Cunningham, who, again, we didn't see last year, so we don't know what he is capable of. I'm a little bit more concerned about the left side of the line than I am the right side of the O-line. But still, I have some concerns about their ability to protect Kyron. I feel like if, we saw last year with, Kyron, but constantly, under pressure, seeing ghosts, potentially getting hurt. I just think that's a bad thing. So my biggest thing is pass protection. Keep him protected in the pocket so he can make some throws and scramble out there and get some runs in.
Callie.
Yeah, no, what Sheldon said is really good. I don't even think I hit on this when they were talking about it earlier, but Kyron is a lot like, or whichever one's older. Him and Sellers are very much alike. So how excited they are about Sellers, I'm as excited about Kyron because I've seen his potential. I know what his ceiling is. I don't want to say I know his ceiling. I know what can be, which is an NFL guy. I feel like Sellers can be an NFL guy. I don't know where he goes. Kyron can be that as well, but it's all about protection. It's about sometimes if you do have a lack of talent in certain positions, you have to coach that talent that you do have up. So it's going to come down to 2 people coaching, 2 staffs coaching, and that's why I say my key to victory is going to be management and time management and adjustments. I think Tim talked about that a little bit when he talked about their DC maybe taking a little too long to adjust. Well, we had a DC that didn't adjust at all in the second half. So we made an adjustment and got rid of him. Thank the Lord. A couple of people are gone. So I'm hoping that this staff does a much better job with their time management and their adjustments, because to beat a team, even if you're punching a little bit above your weight class, you got to do some things strategically. It doesn't always have to be talent against talent. Talent does win you some games, but coaching wins you some games as well. Pry has to prove that he's the guy. This is a game that he can prove it. He was close against a couple of people. That Miami game, if he takes that game, that's a signature win for him.
Yep.
If he wins a game like this, it's a signature win for him. He needs that for him. You know what I'm saying? Because if Pry doesn't make this work, and I know I'm not trying to go too far, but if Pry doesn't make this work this year, where does he go? You know what I'm saying? Like, if he doesn't make this work, and then he doesn't, put together a good, like, his resume doesn't look good, who hires him? The School of the Blind and Deaf. I mean, where's he going? Seriously, like, where does he go from Virginia Tech if he doesn't make this work? Because what we talk about and what Virginia Tech fans know of him, the rest of the football world knows as well. Look at Justin Fuente. Yeah, he got paid, but he still ain't no head coach no more. And I mean, once you've been a head coach, I feel like you want to be a head coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't, but I don't know who lets Pry be a head coach if he doesn't make this work. And I think he has the ability to be a head coach, but he has to prove it. Starting with that time management, my boy. You better get that time management right. Use them timeouts right. Call Shelton if y'all don't know what the time frame is. I mean, he owns.
Shelton's got the chart.
He got the chart. Call him.
Brian's
going to next. Is it Brian?
Brian's going to tell us.
I'll talk next. Let's have a little conversation. So, picture this: it's last year. It's late August. You're in Nashville.
Man,
you've been drinking a couple days. You've been having a good time. You go to this stadium and it's hot. It's hot as hell. And you're sitting there, and all of a sudden you come out and you see your team, and the offense goes out there, and it doesn't really look like the offense that you expected. And you're kind of scratching your head like, what the hell are we doing? So my key, don't be something you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go out there and try to be something you're not. Play to your strengths as an offense, play to your strengths as a team, and let the chips fall where they may. I mean, I think they are, top to bottom, a more talented team, but that doesn't always matter, especially week one, especially when you got two new coordinators that they can't really prepare for. So don't be something you're not, play to your strengths, and let the chips fall where they may.
You should have went last because that was better. I went too analytical. My first one, because I talked about him with Tim, you got to neutralize Kilgore. That kid can pick balls off. He can make tackles. Don't make him part of their game. Basically, get rid of him. And I know some people say, Stewart, well, you know what Stewart is. Like, you can run away from him, run at him. You can do some things there. But with this kid, he's playing the nickel. Avoid him. Avoid running to his side. The second one is this. And for them last year, turnovers were a big thing. In their 9 wins, they were like plus 16. In their losses, they were minus 5. Basically, they lost the turnover differential in every single game they lost last year. And I think for the Hokies to win, it cannot be on the plus side. If it's the plus side, it's a 2-score win for them. If it's even, we got a puncher's chance. If we can just steal one possession, if we steal 2, that's when you start getting into the good shit. Because you start stealing 2 possessions, okay, how much? Win the turnover battle. Because in the games they lost, that was a struggle for them. They made those turnovers. They lost possessions, and they lost some close games last year. They got blown out by Ole Miss. The other 3 games they lost were very close games. And I'll be honest, SEC fucking gave LSU that game last year. They gave LSU that game down in South Carolina, straight up. So that's mine. All right. Well, we come to almost the end, but we now got to make our picks. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. In pride fashion, close game. South Carolina gets the win. I got 21-28.
Got to be one score.
One score game. I got it. That's what I got.
What about you, Sheldon?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 31-24 Cox. But I'm actually gonna go backdoor cover, or well, I don't know if it's a cover, but it's gonna be a backdoor one-score loss, which would be very unfortunate. But I just feel like that.
Don't score the last touchdown.
Yeah. I'll
Prize
be
out there. No, kneel.
Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be tight game. Lots of unknowns on both sides, but I think Sellers is probably the difference maker in this one.
All righty.
My turn?
Okay. Your turn, sir.
My turn? All right. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna do a bit. All right. So this is the bit. Until Pride wins a one-score game, every fucking prediction that I'm gonna have on here that's against a Power 4 opponent is gonna be a one-score loss for the Hokies. So I've got 33-30 Cox in this one.
Okay.
33-30 Cox.
That
I am
sounds
also
dirty,
picking.
like
I am also. I am also picking South Carolina. 33-24. He will not lose the one possession game to them. It will be the 1 point above it. And the way I like my head keeps playing it out. Like I think late game it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a war. I think what Cephas does and what Montgomery does are going to keep us in it. I do think what Brian mentioned about them being just a little bit deeper. I think they're going to hold on late. It's going to be like 4 minutes left. Shane's going to kick the field goal to go up 9. And we aren't going to backdoor cover Shelton. We're not going to do that. We're just not. So yeah. So love to see.
Let me say this right quick before we go to the next bit. You see Randy's
which one
post there where he says if Penn State moves on from James Franklin.
They ain't moving on from James Franklin.
Well, I ain't worried about that. I just want to just show the fact that he called us holies. Randy, you can't call us holies when we playing the Cox. Holies and Cox ain't gonna work good, my boy. You gotta put that K in there.
Put the K in there.
That K is pivotal in this point right here. Any other week, might have let it slide.
Autocorrect is whipping Randy's ass right now.
Getting on Randy.
We can't be the
By the way, something we did not. Well, it happened after we got off last week. Randy King, former Roanoke Times writer, passed away, and they played the video. You saw it, did you see it, Shelton? They played the Corey Moore video because Corey Moore loved Randy King to death. Hey, how you doing, Randy? After he's dropping F-bombs on every national reporter down at
You're mad at everybody.
Greatest. And
how you doing, Randy?
How you doing, Randy? So great. All right. Well, that's our predictions. I'd love to see y'all. I know there's one in the chat. Let's put it up here. All right.
Hey, Chris.
There you go, Chris.
How we doing?
Chris saying loves them kick a late field goal to give us a full touchdown win. All right. I like that. All righty. As usual, y'all, it is college football season. We will be watching our beloved Hokies all season, but we partake in things. We watch other games, and we always pick the big screener that intrigues us. And yes, there is a game you're not going to see on here this week. So don't be shocked by it. Because that line's all shitty, and anytime it's a pick'em game, it ain't fun to really pick. But we've all got our games that we got to focus on, and it is very ACC flavored because we are scheduled to play 3 of these 4 teams. And I'm starting with the first one, and we're going to Boulder Friday night. Georgia Tech, they are Virginia Tech this year in the ACC, what we were last year. People got them, dark horse, they could win 11 games. Okay, cool. Well, they're going out to Boulder, and they are a 5-point favorite on the road. Elevation change. Dion probably got something to prove without Shador back there. I don't know who's going to win the game, but if you give me a home dog with more than 3 points, I will take it all day long. Give me Colorado. Shelton, what do you got for this one?
Yes. I'm taking GT. I honestly don't really know why. I think too many unknowns with Colorado is probably the biggest thing. But yeah, I really like Brinkley. I think he's made of the right stuff. But it is interesting you bring up the point of like, you know, this kind of like the VTT from last year. Like, will Georgia Tech have a similar, underperformance or regression that we saw with VT? So just interested to see that.
Callie?
Georgia Tech. I'll tell you why after I pick a couple other games, but Georgia Tech.
There we go.
Brian?
I'm gonna go with Colorado here. I'm kind of with Curtis on, Dion's coming off a cancer scare. He doesn't have Shador. Like, he's got a lot to prove in this year. I think he's gonna have them ready to play. And with the altitude change, Georgia Tech probably top to bottom on that roster. Probably better. I like what Brent Key brings to the table, but I think there's just too many other factors at play in this one for that 5 line at home for Colorado.
All right. Who's next?
Tally,
lead us off.
Oh, Alabama and Florida State. Castellano's been doing a lot of talking. Alabama's in this second year with their head coach after the GOAT has retired. I am saying, though, Florida State is going to cover. I think they're going to lose, but I think they're going to cover. Now, I'll tell you why did I say that. The same reason I said the first one, because we play Georgia Tech and we play Florida State. Both of those teams are going to look good in the first week, so I have to hear about how bad they're going to kill us. That's what I'm going to hear the first week. Any team that we play is going to look good or competent, and they're going to say, man, when we play them, they're going to kill us. That's what I'm going to hear on X all freaking week. Florida State's going to probably lose by 7 points, close game, and then people's going to talk about how Florida State's back, and they also Georgia Tech's going to go out there and whoop Colorado, and people's going to talk about how they win in the ACC. That's what I have to hear all week. So,
all right, Tally. I love it. Brian?
I've got Alabama in this one. I really don't think Florida State puts the pieces back together. I definitely don't think they put them back together week 1 against Alabama. I don't care if it's in Tallahassee. I don't care about these other factors. I think Alabama's going to take care of business. It's not going to be a huge win, but I think it's going to be those 2 scores that they need to take care of it.
All righty. I'm kind of with Tally on this one. By the way, Big Screeners presented by Moments on the More, our wonderful sponsor. I think FSU's going to cover. I think it's going to be a much tighter game than people think. I think if Castellanos hadn't ran his damn mouth so much, they might could have pulled the dub. But I think you're right, Tally. I think pegging this game is somewhere like a touchdown game. And is it cut late or is it, Bama just holds late? I think 13 has to. And again, it is a home dog. Home dog laying 13.5. No. Shelton.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a slight FSU cover. I would have, if this game was played under Dick Saban, I probably would have taken Bama 10 out of 10 times. But
right.
I just not the same team, not the same program, and I do think people are probably underselling FSU a little bit. So I'll take FSU a slight cover.
All right, Shelton, you're up next.
Yeah, so I went with Notre Dame, Miami. Interesting matchup. Carson Beck making his Canes debut against the reigning, CFP runner-up from last year. For this one, I went with Notre Dame. I just trust Freeman a little bit more, and I don't exactly know what we really have in Carson Beck, given that he was obviously playing for a really talented team last year. They lost some weapons, so I'm a little bit more confident in Notre Dame than I am Miami.
Tally?
Yeah, I'm taking Notre Dame as well. Like Sheldon said, I kind of just trust Freeman a little bit more than I trust Miami. I started to go with my same logic as I used with the other teams, but that line's so close, it's almost a pick 'em. So they can still look good, and people's going to talk about how they're going to kill us too. But Notre Dame, I think, taking this one.
I guess that leaves me up next. I'm taking Miami here. and it's really, this is all about line. I think there's going to be some solid play on both teams here. But 2.5 home dog. I'm going to go with that in this instance here. I think they're just too evenly matched overall to go any other direction.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Give me the underdog at home, and just I felt like C.J. Carr is the quarterback at Notre Dame. I think Riley Leonard was just a perfect piece for them last year. Tough runner, smart kid. And I don't know, can you recreate magic 2 times in a row? So yeah, I think I don't know who wins. I think the whole thing is I just want to be enjoying this game with a victory beer on Sunday night.
Me too.
Because if not, I'm gonna be in a pissy ass mood until at least halftime.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Brian, you got the last one. Where we going?
We've got the Tigers of Death Valley Bowl here. We got LSU, Clemson. Clemson, -4 at home there. I'm riding with it. I feel like this is a program that I think is kind of put the pieces back together a little bit, and I think this might be a year where they can make a little bit of a run. So give me Clemson in this one down there at their home stadium, the other Death Valley.
Yep, I'm taking Clemson as well. I'll lay the 4 points. Clemson wins by 7. Good game on Saturday night. Look forward to getting comfy and watching it, not being in a pissy mood.
Yeah, I saw a stat the other day that LSU has lost 4 or 5 straight season openers. So for that reason, Brian Kelly just does not have his A game in the season opener. So I think I'll take Clemson. I like their coaching staff just a little bit better.
I just like to cause controversy, so I said LSU. No reason why besides that. Just want to be different and be wrong.
He wanted to be different. He just wanted the tiger eye underneath his name.
Yeah.
Tiger eye. Well, fellas, we got to the end of the first episode of the season.
Hey,
we're
back, baby. We're back, baby.
11:15. 11:15. Shelton's about to go out. As soon as I have him read his name, he's probably gonna be like, "Y'all, I'm going to bed. Y'all are crazy staying up past 11 o'clock."
I'm with him.
I ain't far behind him. All right. We appreciate it. Y'all, listen, chat tonight. Y'all were awesome. Awesome. Bring that energy every week because we are wrapping up this episode of the Boundary Corner podcast brought to you by Counts Family Pharmacy and Moments on the Maury. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Jonathan Talley.
And I'm Sheldon Moss.
We are part of the College Shuttle Network. Visit boundarycornerbt.com to listen to all of our episodes. While you're there, follow us, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, especially YouTube. That keeps growing. All your favorite podcast sources. So if you're pressing download on your drive to work, if you're in the car with the kids, wait until the kids are out of the car. As y'all know, we do have the little E next to our program name because we are grown men and we will say curse words. We always let our buddy Jason down in the New River Valley play us in, play us out. Check him out on his website, jasonlawmusic.com, where you can find everything, all of his links. Tomorrow night, very special episode. Roland Lazenby, who is a professor down at Virginia Tech, wrote some amazing books on the Showtime Lakers, on Magic Johnson, on Jordan, on Kobe. Me and Brian got to sit down with him last week to talk about basically college football, and he had spent some time with Brent Pry and the kids in the spring and the summer. So check that interview out. He was great to talk with. Tally, I kid you not, you and Brian could probably sit with him for 3-4 hours and just listen to basketball stories. I mean,
and if you haven't caught it yet, go ahead and get the latest issue of the Roanoke magazine.
Yeah,
the write up, "Love in the Time of NIL" is
great.
It's in there. It's a great piece, and he was a great guest. So
looking
forward to sharing that with y'all tomorrow. But go check that out.
Absolutely. We appreciate y'all for commenting. We appreciate y'all for listening. And as always, let's go
Hokies.